So we as architects, we make a mistake, it's one building. A product designer, you make a mistake, it's like 500, 10,000 pieces of a product that, which are for everyone to see. So it's important that it works very well. You do something low cost, then you automatically, it'll start being sustainable, because everything that we use in terms of materials and energy, everything is related to the actual cost of the material. And the lower cost it is, you're obviously doing something right in terms of minimizing the impact on the environment. Yeah. So if architects are taught restraint in a way, that, you don't have to build something big, or if possible nothing at all, recycle it. There's this priest who came to me because this church was not large enough to hold the congregation for the mass. Yeah. So he said, I want to expand it. And I saw this pretty little, almost like large chapel. And I said that, if you find, why don't you divide the village into two sections? You say, this part of the village you come at 9 o'clock, this part of the village you come at 10 o'clock, And you solve the problem. Instead of building a church double the size. And he said, okay, good. So at times the solution is really very simple. And so we just need to think out of the box. I think that's really the way to address a problem. How can we actually unbuild? It doesn't mean dismantling stuff, but how can we actually minimize, recycle, reuse, reduce in a way our footprints? Yeah. And it may be the systems may actually be social systems where you actually bring communities together by reducing their footprint, by fostering sort of cooperation, and which creates community bonding. And you can see that happening in places like Oroville, where these communes have come together, and there's a lot of sharing that takes place, in food, in terms of support systems for education, healthcare. So all these things actually will bring, by actually making the architecture more compact, is you bring about a stronger community sense. Because right now with the nuclear societies that we're creating, we've lost the good of the joint family systems. No doubt the joint family system had their limitations, but I think we can actually restore them in a much better way today, in today's context of how do we integrate communities in society. So a lot of our cities, there were so many rich communities, and each one very diverse and everything. And there's, in fact, a great amount of exchange instead of conflict. Most people think that this community from Gujarat somewhere, somebody else in another part of India, and they would be there. But because they're not bounded, because the divisions are very blurred in terms of that, there's a great amount of cultural exchange that takes place. And therefore, it's important that we keep the identity with communities intact, because by going completely cosmopolitan, the richness of each individual community is also lost. So those communities can be supported, but with an understanding that there has to be, so you create these interactive spaces. So it's places where people can interact in an informal manner. So if they're designing, say, a bus stop, for example, the bus stop is not going to be this thing where everyone sits in a line. They make sure the sitting area actually is curvilinear. So immediately you start making eye contact with the person across, and you say, good morning, where do you live, and where does your son go to school, whatever. And it starts a dialogue, and with that, you can bring about social change, because now you actually bring people together. Because the only way to challenge policymakers or politicians who generally have the upper hand in the future of our cities is by bringing people together, so they can collectively make a decision and say that this is what we really need. We don't need a big bridge, we actually need a much better marketplace. And that's one way of actually creating social change, in a way, by creating spaces where people can interact and make a difference. I think we miss out on the informal sector a lot in design, and that's really what I mean by being sensitive and compassionate about things. Because there's a great opportunity for architects to actually intervene and provide for that section of society that is otherwise neglected. Because in this great endeavor to make a market economy, we think of only the formalized sector. We think of bigger shops and restaurants and things like that. Whereas India has really been about the smaller sector, the informal sector, with this great level of entrepreneurship that we have. Where everybody is very happy having this corner stall, selling something at little or no profit, but it's his, and the great pride that is there. So if we can actually encourage that and allow platforms so that, I think we can do a great amount of service to society in that way. I mean, architecture is not just about the building it or designing a building. It's about creating a solution which really addresses the core problem that you have. And I think it gives a great opportunity to actually be innovative in your solutions. Ever so often, if we're designing, say, a school, a hospital, or something, we take a standard template and we say, this is the thing. It has this corridor, it has these rooms, and everything. And we never really question the way it's done before. And a lot of those templates are really redundant in today's world. So I think one is, of course, whenever you look at a project, is how do you get inputs from the actual stakeholders. People are going to use the building. So what is their opinion on what they would like to see in the building? I think that's essential that understanding takes place. And that can only happen if you have a sensitivity to their issues, that you research a little on the issues and start pushing the boundary, because and that comes only from compassion, that you understand the needs of everybody. It's not just the person who's investing in it, but all the users as well. And so that's what I mean by compassion. I've never been really trained in it, but I realized the great advantage of the processes in product design, and that is the rigor of research. When you do a product design, you actually have to get into it. No doubt it seems to have this thing of nice forms and nice colors and texture and everything to it, but it comes from a lot of research work that we as architects actually don't have. So we as architects, we make a mistake, it's one building. A product designer, you make a mistake, it's like 500, 10,000 pieces of product that which we have to see. So it's important that it works very well. So it has to have the great amount of development time that you have. As an architecture, we don't have the development time. We just build it quickly. I mean, that's why. So in fact, what's happening in Southeast Asia now is a hybrid architecture, where you see, because when you're using a temporary material, yes, there's a limitation to the structural integrity of the building. So they're using actually either concrete frame or steel frame or something that's really sturdy as the main framing, and they fill it in with natural materials. So you have a building which can actually look fresh whenever you want it to, or if the material is degrading, you just add, so whether it's a little mud and plaster lap wall, or it's a bamboo sort of trellis, or any other material which is naturally available, or if there's a craft base for it in the area, you add it as infill. And every few years, it looks like it's a new building. Because it's changed, it's looked completely. I think that's a great way to go, because you address the issue of providing the basic structural and service sort of support systems. And at the same time, you're involving craftsmanship in the building, which we've lost over the building. So you can create speed by a quick structural system that's put in place, and you bring in the craft people who can actually give that warmth to the buildings and support dying crafts in a way.